Hello, everybody. Happy Friday night. We were here with Steph, and
Hello, I'm Tracy.
so thank you for tuning in to the Adventures of Steph and Tracy. Tonight's theme is all about adventure. So Tracy's sharing the video right now. It's all good. So
Trying.
let us know what you think, or let us know if you're catching this live, hashtag replay. Tonight we are going to talk about what adventure means. And Tracy found this great book, and it has a prompt for each week, I think, and it has some questions to think about. So tonight we thought we would talk a little bit about adventure. So tell us in the comments, and remember, we are streaming live through StreamYard. So if you post your comments and you give Facebook permission, we can actually feature your comments along the bottom of the screen. And thank you for joining us on a fun last Friday night in January. It's hard to believe that we are at the end of January already.
It is hard to believe. At least it's a little warmer than it was this beginning of this week and last weekend.
Yes, it's much nicer out. Just a little bit of snow.
Yeah.
Kind of a nice time of year. The roads, I think, are still okay. So let's start talking about the book that you had. What was the book that you found?
The first thing, we live in small town Saskatchewan, and I was shopping at our local Home Hardware, and shout out to Home Hardware that has a wonderful giftware selection. So good job to Melford's Home Hardware, Ian and Jeff. But I found this book called Words to Live By. Can't see. There we go.
You're good.
And it's 52 weeks of possibility, one word at a time. So it caught my attention. The author of the book is Amelia Riedler, I think is how you pronounce your name. And so it's just a little bit of a different way. I'm not a journaler. So I want to be a journaler, but I'm not.
And I start journals and then I don't finish them. And yes, I can relate.
I'm the exact same way. So this one's set up a little bit different. So for each week, it gives you a different word. And then there's a couple of prompts each week so that it just gives you a little bit of reflection time, I guess, or a different way to reflect. So this week's word is adventure. And the quote at the beginning of the book is, "Before me lies the edge of the world. I am on my way there running." And that quote was written by Papago Song, is the author of that quote. And then I'm going to put on my glasses because my old eyes can't see. Adventure.
I still have my glasses on.
Adventure can be whatever you want it to be, an impromptu coffee or a trip to Paris. Is there something that excites you, big or small, that you could start planning for this week? What about this personal adventure excites you? So that's what this week was. So, Steph, what's an adventure you've been on, or maybe one that we've been on together that was super exciting?
Well, there's two kind of adventures that I'm thinking of, and let us know what your adventures are in the comments so we can see those popping up as they go through. At the beginning of January, I think it was maybe the 2nd of January, I messaged Tracy and I was like, so last night on New Year's Eve, I had this really great idea that every day in 2021, I was going to go live on social media on one platform or another, not all on Facebook or Instagram, but on many platforms. I'm still working on TikTok. I don't know if there's any TikTok people out there that know how to work TikTok. I'm at 900 plus followers now.
You're just about there.
So eventually I can go live on TikTok and I'll have no idea what to talk about on TikTok, but I'm almost to the point where I have that option. So this is day 29 of going live at least once a day, if not more than once a day. So one adventure was actually challenging myself to do that because the 1st of January rolled around and I needed to do a live, and I was pretty good at trying to talk myself out of it. I was coming up with all sorts of excuses about how I was like the New Year's Day and I should start tomorrow, but I hit the go live button and I was really short. Sometimes I'm not in the videos because I just demo a product or I show a book or something like that, because not every day do I feel like being in front of the camera or knowing what to talk about. But I have gone live for 29 days, which I think is a great way to start 2021. So that was one adventure. The other one, we had a lot of fun when we went to rural Mexico to meet the artisans from our former company that we were with. And we went to Zina Quintan and we went to Aldama, which are very, very remote places in rural Mexico. And we stayed in San Cristobal del Casas, I believe. It was beautiful, surrounded by mountains. Some of the windiest roads we have ever been on, where we wound up to the top of the mountain and then kind of crossed over to the next one and wound down. And when we got to, I think it was Aldama, that was really far out. Mm-hmm. It was kind of like the town and the edge of the cliff. And we walked to the edge to see the local church and to see some of the buildings. And then it was kind of like the town and then the edge of the mountain and kind of dropping off from there. So we had a great time on that adventure. And then we went to the Hard Rock after that. What was one of the things that stood out from our adventure to rural Mexico?
You know what? It was just meeting with the people and the little kids that were in the villages. We did not speak the same language, and yet we were able to communicate. And I find that in education a lot, that, you know, the ones that are kind of the hardest to reach, they just want to, you know, that hug or the piece of candy or whatever it happens to be. And that was the same for the kids that we met in some of those rural communities. So they didn't have a lot, but what they had was theirs, and they were very proud of their homes and very proud of their art that we were there to try. And I will say try, because I was not successful at weaving, even though I brought home the loom. But yeah, it sat in a pile in my closet because I really wasn't very good at it. But they
It was hard to
got a
learn.
chuckle. It was extremely hard to learn. But even though we couldn't communicate, because I don't know Spanish, I did not speak Spanish, don't speak Spanish, and they certainly did not speak English. And so we were able to communicate in other ways. And I think it just fascinates me how we can travel the world, and there's just
We
some
used to be
basic.
able to. Eventually,
Well, yeah,
travel the world.
eventually we will be able to
way,
again.
way back pre-COVID, when you could actually get on a plane and you were allowed to travel outside of the country without having to quarantine or without worry of other things.
Yeah.
But I think, like Tracy said, it was definitely that interaction with people and trying to learn when we didn't speak any Spanish and they didn't speak any English. But we were doing back loom weaving. So you're literally tied into the loom that you're working with. It's wrapped around a pole, but not all the poles, because some of them were actually not very secure and could pull down the little, like, it's kind of like a little lean-to on one of the buildings. So it might pull that down. But we were tied in and it goes around your back. And I couldn't figure out why I couldn't get this one step, but the move to get from step 1 to step 2 was just moving it like this. But we didn't realize that this was changing up where the parts of where the warp and the weave were on the loom. But it was certainly, kids are kids wherever they are in the world, and they were just excited and curious to see us and the different outfits that we had on. And we weren't wearing anything that was exciting. It was just, we were very different, and the skill of those artisans and how fine they could weave was absolutely amazing what they could do. It was truly in awe of the talent that they had in the years of practice and how fast they could go. And then they just shake their head and then they'd fix what we did. And then they'd try to get us to keep going.
Yeah. And the one little girl, I remember when we were taking pictures, and how fascinated she was to see a picture of herself, which was really quite amazing, because it was something that we totally take for granted. And yeah, it was pretty cool.
And when because we left donations at each spot that we went to, and just different food as ways to say thank you. And they had gone out and bought a doll, and somebody, like, she got to go through and kind of pick something out. And I just remember, like, her face just lit up, and she was just so excited that she had this new doll, this new toy, and just the sheer joy on her face, and that experience of meeting different people. And I think it was just as much life-changing for us as it was for them as well.
Certainly.
It was just, or that they'll remember this time all those women came and were trying to learn how to do something and weren't doing very well, as the chickens wandered in between us, and there was coffee beans out on the spot across the street. So that was fun. And then we went to the Hard Rock after that, and that was a very different scene, going from
very commercialized. Yeah, and that commercialized experience. But I mean, that in and of itself, get treated like that, and having a room where you have a balcony on the roof and a hot tub on the roof, and yeah, some of the perks of direct sales for sure, and earning some of those trips.
Yes, it was pretty amazing adventure. And to go with I think there was 30 or more that made that first part of the trip, and then more joined us on the Mayan Riviera in Mexico. It was an amazing trip, a great time. We'd highly recommend the Hard Rock on the Mayan Riviera. I think that's which part we were in.
Yeah.
We do have a chance to go back to Mexico with our new adventure. We are going to Los Cabos, right? Yeah. And so that will be, I think, hopefully during the summertime, and crossing our fingers that vaccinations and things in the world change, so that there's a possibility to go on the trip. So we're really, really hoping for that. But where else have you traveled, Tracy, since we're talking about adventures? What other adventures have you been on?
Not many, to be honest. We skied when I was a kid, so we've had lots of adventures in Canada, to the mountains, to the Rocky Mountains in BC and Alberta. As a grade 12 student, way, way long time ago, my class of 32 traveled to Italy, which was an amazing experience and one that I will never forget. So that two teachers at that time took 32 of us, and off we went, and we had raised money for well over a year in smoky bingo halls and that kind of thing. I'll date myself a little bit, but off we went, and that is something I will never forget. And some of the architecture and getting off of the plane after having traveled for 14 hours on that plane and off into our first museum, and not really appreciating it at the time, but now as an adult looking back, certainly value some of those experiences and can reflect on them as I teach my own groups of kids and just reflect on the history of the world.
It really puts into perspective how young Canada is when you leave the country. And I've been to Europe twice. We went as a teacher. It was not an educational trip, but as we went with 6 grade 10 students, and there was 2 of us, and we went on a tour through.
Okay, sorry, 6 to 2 and 32 to 2.
Yeah. We had a very small group. We had a really great time. We had, Yvonne says Los Cabos is nice, but no ocean swimming, heavy riptide. That's important to know.
Yeah.
Stay out of the. Yes. So Yvonne could probably comment where she's traveled. I know her and Sean have been to many places around the world, and I always enjoy hearing about the trips and what they see when they go to different places. So when we went with the students into Europe, we did sort of we were in, where did we go? We were in Germany, and then we went into the Czech Republic, and we came back through Austria and Switzerland, because often there's the Swarovski crystal stop in Austria. So I've been to the Swarovski crystal store in Austria a couple times. Switzerland, which has great chocolate. We really enjoyed our time in Switzerland. And then we took the train. That was the biggest difference between when my husband and I went and when we went on the tour with the students, was we took the high-speed train. We got to Paris in a matter of hours instead of an entire day on a bus. And then we had a private tour of Paris, because the other groups didn't go with us on that extension. So we had our tour guide, the 2 of us, and then they took us all over Paris, and it was amazing. They took us to the Louvre, and just to see all of the different things and to have those tour guides. Yes, Yvonne, we had a group of boys, and yes, we bought Yvonne earrings when we were there. The boys were really good shoppers. They were picking things out for their moms and for their friends. And they were like, we know, be careful with the backpack, because when you're on the school tours, you always have your backpack and you can't turn around in the gift stores because you might take out a bunch of things. But we had some amazing apple strudel in Germany. It was the end of March, and we hadn't packed toques and mitts, so we had to go buy toque and mitts in Prague. So I have a toque from Prague and mitts, and maybe some of you watching, I would assume all of you watching probably know what a toque is, but I know from our friends on our team that live in different parts of the country or in the States, they're like, what is a toque?
What is a toque? It's a hat.
Yes, it's a warm hat for cold weather. So we put on our toque and mitts, and we went on top of the riverboat cruise so we could actually see everything in Prague. But it was very chilly, but beautiful. We were at, I think it was I don't know if I'm saying this right, but St. Vitus Cathedral in Prague on Easter Sunday. So when all the bells were ringing, that was pretty amazing.
On Easter Sunday, I was in Rome. Ooh. With 32 other students, or 31 other students. Why you would put Saskatchewan children in Rome on Easter Sunday is beyond me, but they did. Yes. And we all survived. We all came home.
Well, that's good. That's important. Where did we go? When Dave and I went, we landed in London, and we are also launching the lashes in the UK. So if you know of anybody that lives in England, Wales, Scotland, or Northern Ireland, the magnetic lashes and liner will now be available in the UK. But when we landed in London, we got picked up at the airport. Once we found the guide to pick us up, we had a beautiful hotel the first night, and then we got on our tour bus. And actually, we missed the tour time. We were later getting into London, but we went for a walk walk, but and we tried to catch the bus, but everything in London is reversed, right? So to catch the right bus, you have to make sure you're on the right side of the street to get going the right way. But we went and walked through Piccadilly Circus, and we went to Buckingham Palace. So I don't know if there's any fans of The Crown, but when they show the gates, I can say, like, I actually stood at the gates, and, you know, we didn't see anything happen. We saw the guards, but there's no changing of the guard. And we walked down that street there and then made our way back. But it was World Cup final night. So Italy was playing Paris or France, I think. And the pubs, you could just feel the heat and the energy and the sound coming out of them. So we found a quiet one and had some pizza and found our way back to the hotel. And then we got on another bus to go on the ferry through past the cliffs of Dover over to Calais, France. And that's where we met our tour group, which was amazing. There were people from all over the world. I have friends in South Africa and Australia and so many different places. Just from spending, I think it was 17 days on the bus with them, you get to know people really well. And then we went through Belgium. Belgium also has great chocolates. Belgian waffles are different there. They eat them like sliding off a piece of cardboard, like a piece of pizza. I was like, but no, like, where's the plate with all the things? But the chocolate is amazing in Belgium. Then we did Germany and we spent quite a few days in Italy, which was one of my favorite places. But I know just standing outside Vatican City, like even standing by the walls, and you're thinking, how much history is there here? And the Colosseum was, I'm a fan of Roman history, and to be in the Colosseum and just standing there and, you know, imagining what it was like years ago and in the Roman Forum was pretty amazing. So that was one of the trips that I really, really enjoyed. And we got to meet amazing people from all over the world. And I think that's one of my favorite parts of traveling adventure is the people that you get to meet and connect with.
And travel with. You and I have had the opportunity to take our families and travel. So do you remember when we went to Miami?
Yes, Miami was fun. I think Dave and Russ had fun too.
Yeah,
in Miami.
I think so.
But where it was a snowstorm to get to the city, we managed to fly out before everybody else got snowed in. We flew overnight to Miami. It was beautiful, nice and warm, and I think it rained, but we were like, it's not snowing, so it's all good. We went to a hockey game.
We did, yeah. Yeah, courtesy of a friend that wasn't playing that night, and I think Dave's cousin wasn't playing that night. Couldn't see him either, but
both
off we went.
Weren't playing that night, so but that was fun. And then we went to Orlando a few years later with our kids and our families, and we were sitting on the balcony, and the kids are like, "There's an alligator," and we're like, "No, there was an alligator."
There's an alligator.
And we did Disney. That was quite an experience. We did Disney in the rain. I think it was Hollywood Studios in the rain, pouring rain. We have nice Disney ponchos. Yes. We had lots of fun that way. So always an adventure when you travel with all of us. But it was, I'm looking forward to the day that we can go again. I think we went to a basketball game. So that was an experience being so far.
What basketball game?
Yeah. We couldn't see the basketball game. It was so far away. And we had to take that escalator that went way up that I couldn't even look over the edge. I don't know if anybody else can relate to a fear of heights, but I could not look over the edge. I remember Russ saying, why do you not look up and see what's out there? I was like, I can't. We're way too high. I couldn't even feel like standing up in the stadium. I thought I'd fall over.
We were just about at the ceiling. Yeah.
Yes, but it was a good experience. They had the best tacos. They had a hard shell taco wrapped with a soft shell taco, which is my favorite. I didn't know that before then, that you could even do that. That was one of my favorite things. So our question for those of you that are watching, Yvonne says Foo Fighters in New York City was insane. Yes.
Oh, I have a New York City story. My mom and my sister and I went to New York, and my mom had been there before. My sister and I had not. And so we were there with my aunt and her daughter. It was a girls' trip. And my mom had ridden the subway before and we had not. And she kept warning us, just like, when the doors open, you must get on quickly, girls. And so there we are down in the tarmac and get on. And who gets left behind is my mother. The door shut and we get to wave goodbye to her on the subway. And we had to buy toques and mitts there. It was April. We went over Easter break. Obviously I'm teaching, and so that was the only time we could go, and trying to ride the double-decker bus to do the hop on hop off of New York City. And we're in toques and mitts and did not dress appropriately, even though we are from Saskatchewan. So Thought it was going to be warm in New York. It was not.
Yvonne says she was scared. It must, all of the people. I know I went to New York on a girls' trip. That was
Not that long ago.
Yeah, I think it was maybe 3 years ago now. So we went during February break. So to New York in February, we missed the major snowstorm. They had the best weather when we were there. We were in jean jacket one day on the ferry. We took the free ferry to Staten Island so that we could see the Statue of Liberty, which is not as big as you would think it would be. Got to Staten Island, turned around and came back. We went to the 9/11 museum. I made them go to the Museum of Natural History. We each got to pick a place. And I was like, I want to go to the Museum of Natural History. And we walked. I was very excited about that. They were very.
Did you see the Naked Cowboy?
No, I did not.
I did get to experience the Naked Cowboy in Times Square.
Our hotel was 2 blocks from Times Square. We found this little boutique hotel. Yeah. It was the Luma. It even had a robot that if you called the front desk and asked for something, the robot would deliver it to you. Except sometimes it got stuck in the elevator and couldn't get on or off because everybody's trying to be polite and the robot was moving. But it was fun. All of the restaurants that we go to were like multiple levels, right? So they're like, where are they taking us for the meal? But up to this top level or off this level. And we went to a Broadway play. That was one of my most favorite things. We went to see Beautiful, the Carole King story, which was amazing. But every night we'd kind of be walking through Times Square and we're like, can you even imagine what this would be like on New Year's Eve? And then the plays let out. And it was so packed. We're like, okay, maybe we should actually, like, us Saskatchewan girls are like, we should maybe physically hang on to each other so we don't lose each other in this crowd. But I've never seen so many people so close together. Mm-hmm. But I think as far as, the stereotype of New Yorkers being not super friendly, they were very helpful. Gave us directions. We did wander through Chinatown and Little Italy, and firefighters gave us directions to the best restaurant in Little Italy, the first place that was their pizza or something like that, Lombardi's Pizza. And then I wanted to see, I can't remember what it was called, but a certain park where you could see the arch, and it's in different movies. No, we went through Central Park, but it was a different one. It has I think it's a special arch, but the name escapes me right now. But it was off the trail, and Teresa's a very good navigator, and she was with us. She's like, well, let's just ask, because we came up out of the subway and we're kind of disorientated. So we're like, can you point us in the right direction? And the guy was like, I don't have to pick up my kids from daycare, and I'm going that way, so I'll just walk you there. So he was like, so this is the Columbia University, and this is here. And we had a great chat, but it was cold and kind of raining, and we needed to get back to buy our tickets for the play. So we took a couple quick pictures, and then we went back to catch the subway so that we could get back. But I quite enjoyed New York. I was very surprised.
There's lots to see, that's for sure. When I was there, they still hadn't filled in the 9/11. They were just starting construction to reestablish the 9/11 where the towers were. So it was very interesting.
It was quite a different experience too.
Yeah, very sobering.
Because we went and it was daylight, and then the museum is underground. So you go down, and then you can see all of the main pillar that was left and all of the parts in the ground. And then so you tour that part, and you can see the fire truck that there's nothing left at the front, but it looks like a normal fire truck at the back. And then they take you through all of the events that happens. It's quite an intense museum experience. And then we came out and it was dark. So then the One World Trade Center was lit up, and the fountains were lit up. It was a very sobering experience, but beautiful space that they've created. Definitely very glad that we stopped there. But New York was lots of fun. Yvonne said, I put it up on the screen, rush hour in NYC was like rats scurrying to the subway, people in suits rushing to catch the first train. We tried to not catch a lot of and she said the 9/11 was intense. Yes, very intense museum. But that we didn't go to any concerts. We did go to Madison Square Gardens just to kind of look around, but we couldn't get in. We did stop at Kleinfeld's, which is the wedding dress store. Megan wanted to see that. So we went in, and it says filming may be in progress. So we peeked around a corner and we took a look at one of the dresses, and we're like, I don't know who shops here. It's like $20,000. We're like, okay, maybe if they're like, there's a discount section downstairs. We're like, let's go look there. Yeah, even that wasn't very much there, but it was fun just to see what it was like. I did get some Steve Madden shoes. So if Tekla's watching,
you and your Steve Madden.
Yes, that was when we go to Salt Lake City. We had the best adventures in Salt Lake City. So convention. What was one of your favorite times when we went to Salt Lake?
Do you want us to talk about the marathon to Salt Lake City?
Yes.
That was quite an adventure. The adventures of Steph and Tracy, I think, started there, actually.
Yes.
So Stephanie and I were, and I don't know how many others out of Saskatoon were scheduled on a flight that was canceled to go to our convention for our last company. And when you cancel from Saskatoon, it's not always easy to get out, but we were being what we thought was ingenious and took a party bus to Regina. The party bus took us to, where did they put us up at the Regina?
This Hotel Saskatchewan.
Hotel Saskatchewan. So why WestJet
3 hours.
Yeah. And like why WestJet would choose that hotel is beyond me. But anyways, Hotel Saskatchewan for all of 3 hours and a meal. And we get to the airport to board our 6 o'clock in the morning flight. And
no, it was five. We were at the airport at 3.
And two of us you see here tonight, did not have tickets. So how many hours were we in Regina? Do you remember?
We were at the airport at 3 in the morning. We couldn't get Delta to help us till 4 or 5. Then WestJet finally helped us because they felt sorry for us. They were amazing. They took our bags and put them somewhere so we didn't have to drag them around. The rest of our friends left and said, hopefully we'll see you. They were off to Minneapolis. Our tickets apparently were still based out of Saskatoon. They hadn't actually been switched, even though we had called WestJet the night before to confirm because we were worried about that. So we didn't fly out until 10.
Yeah, I think so. And then we sat in Calgary till the evening.
No, we were late in Calgary. The the pilot was delayed. So we were late going to LA. So then tell them what happened in LA.
We ran fast.
Like you catch our next plane. Like with bags dragging behind. Like they flew us first class from Calgary to LA, thanks to WestJet. And the people in the first class were like, because we were asking, we're like, do you know how we would get to this next terminal? And they're like, you need to go quickly because we had 60 minutes from deplaning to get on the next plane before takeoff. And so they're like, you get off the plane first. So we're literally running and they're like, you need to catch the blue bus. So Tracy and I go like running out and we're dragging our bags and we're looking and we pop out onto the like literally kind of where it's like driving from one terminal to the next. And we're like, where's the blue bus? I don't see the blue bus. Thank goodness Tracy is taller than me because
I saw the blue bus.
There was a line. It wasn't a blue bus. There was a line on the bottom of the bus. How are short people supposed to see that? And then we literally ran after the bus and it would slow down at the next terminal. And we're like, we're going to catch it. And then it would speed up because it didn't have to drop anybody off. And we're like, no. And cars are honking because we're running right after the bus. It was.
We made it.
We did. And we went through security every single airport that day. We ran, got on the bus. People were not sure why we were so excited to get on the shuttle bus. And then we got through security, walked up online, got on the plane.
Yep.
And then we got to Salt Lake City 34 hours after we had started in Saskatoon the day before.
It was a long haul.
I'm so glad that I was on that with Tracy because it did prepare me for the one trip I did take by myself where my plane was delayed and then rerouted. And I was like, it's okay, I can do this. I was like, find the human to talk to. Don't try to rebook from a ticket kiosk. So I was like, find the human. And then they helped me get on the plane. And then I did make it to Orlando that one time. But that was quite the adventure. I was thinking of the fun in Salt Lake City, that conventions are always amazing. Yeah. This year, we likely won't be able to go to our convention. It's in Orlando. And they're going to there's going to be a red carpet gala. It's going to be so exciting. But they are offering us virtual options. I'm pretty excited. And I'm hoping by I think it's April, that maybe we can get together in very small groups to watch some of it together. So hopefully I can actually be in person with Tracy to watch the conference, and hopefully Kayla will join us and people in the local area we can get together. Yvonne said, don't forget the sparkly shoes.
Ah, yes.
Yes.
Your sparkly shoes.
Yes, you got shoes too that day.
I did. Yeah, we were in
San Cristobal.
Was it San Cristobal? And we found we're still not sure if they're actually authentic, but we found Tom's shoes, or at least they had the Tom's logo on them. And yeah, I found a pair that I officially retired to the burning barrel last summer. They were really bad. And I think Steph's still sporting her sparkly shoes.
Yes, they are a kind of an aqua blue solid sparkle. They were the only shoes that fit in the entire store, but they fit. They are the most comfortable Toms. Whether they are Toms or not, I'm not sure. They have the label, but they are the most comfortable Toms that I have. And they are the introvert's best way to start a conversation, because if I wear them when I travel, because it's harder for me to start conversations with people unless I kind of think about what I want to say in advance. That's why I travel with Tracy. She's good at talking to people, and then I don't have to worry about what to say. But when I'm on a plane, if I wear the sparkly shoes, somebody's like, nice shoes. And then I'm like, hey, I got them when I was on this trip with this company. And then it's a great way to share the story. And what did Yvonne say? Sean said it's likely you won't travel this summer, but I'm really hoping. I'm hoping and putting positive thoughts out there that there'll at least hopefully be an option, because we're very close to earning the trip, so that's pretty exciting. We have until to qualify, so I'm getting closer and closer every month, so that's exciting. And so hopefully, or in the future, we'll be able to travel again. But we do have some other places we'd like to travel to. So we are also launching in Australia and New Zealand. So I can't wait actually to be able to hopefully travel to Australia someday and to New Zealand someday and meet new team members and just to see different sites. And I don't know if any of you, I'm watching the comments, if anybody's been to Australia or New Zealand, what places would you go? What would you recommend seeing?
Yeah, someplace that I have never been. I went to university with a couple of girls. One still lives there and one now lives back in Canada, but certainly would love to go visit. And now I have a new teammate in Australia and a new teammate in New Zealand. So I'm super excited to be able to someday go and meet those ladies in person.
I think we're going to have to end our call. I just got a message from my daughter that says, can you please pick me up? So I should probably go and do that. So thank you so much to everybody for staying on with us. And I loved all the comments there. Thanks, Yvonne and Sean, for watching with us. And if you're watching this on the replay, let us know the favorite places that you've been as well. So have a great evening. Those were some of our favorite adventures with Steph and Tracy. Take care, everybody.
Take care.
Bye.